Worried the sky will snitch on your safe spot? Ditch the expensive jammer talk. The masters of concealment from World War II beat aircraft scouts with nothing but paint, branches and psychology. Those same rules still make modern drones blink twice. I'm going to give you hard, usable techniques. No fluff, no techno-fetish, so your shelter reads as background instead of target. Understand what camouflage actually means. Camouflage in World War II wasn't just slapping green on something, it was a science of perception. The goal was to stop the observer from recognizing an object as separate from its environment. That meant altering shape, texture, shadow and tone so the shelter didn't read as a shelter when seen from above. Think like the plane. Match the terrain and the angle of the sky. Where you put your shelter counts as much as how you hide it. In World War II, the smartest bunkers hugged slopes, sat under tree crowns, or were buried beneath a thin skin of local earth. Do the same. Low profile wins. If your site is among trees, make the roof a textured extension of the canopy. If you're in open scrub, bring the height down, flatten the silhouette and use horizontal lines that echo the landscape rather than cut across it. The sky looks for contrast. Give it none. Control the outline and break the form. Straight edges and right angles, well, they scream man-made. From the air, human structures are regular. Nature is irregular. Change your shelter's silhouette. Add irregular masking around the edges so the roof does not read as a rectangle. Attach local material, branches, tufts of grass, leaf litter, and let them overlap the roofline. Use the local stone or soil to feather the edges. The trick used in World War II was to make the eye stop at the edge, not trace it. If the drone can't easily extract a single shape, it's less likely to flag it as an object worth noting. Use texture to steal the show from colour. Colour matters, sure, but texture wins. Smooth, flat surfaces reflect light differently and throw consistent shadows. A roof strewn with twigs, small rocks or coarse fabric creates patchy shadows and visual noise. That noise confuses pattern recognition, whether human or algorithmic. During World War II, camoufleurs cleverly covered bunkers with rubble and brush, making sure that airmen flying overhead would only see a field, not concrete. You should do the same. Rough up those surfaces, make the topography of your shelter visually match the surroundings, and, well, avoid any monotone expanses that might give you away. You'll want to manage shadows and timing like a pro, honestly. Shadows betray. A perfectly hidden object in one kind of light will, pop out the next. Back in the war, concealment teams learned to work with the sun, placing structures so their shadows blended with natural shadow lines. You must check your site at different times of day. The long morning and evening shadows behave quite differently from those at midday. Tuck your shelter where its shadow length and direction are consistent with nearby features. If you really must place something vertical, break up its shadow with scatter material, so a drone's camera doesn't pick up a clear, consistent silhouette. Disrupt the expected features. Vents, chimneys, antennas, these are giveaways. In World War II, camouflagers disguised pipes as tree stumps, painted ventilation heads to mimic rocks, and built fake low ridges to hide machine emplacements. Don't let hardware stand proud. Repaint metal to match local tones, break straight rises with a cluster of branches, or surround items with low mounds that echo nearby terrain. The point is to destroy the recognizable signature, not to hide the component itself. Keep movement and traces to a minimum. Movement is the enemy. In World War II, the smallest motion gave away positions quicker than anything else. Modern drones are even more sensitive. Avoid patterns of activity that create tracks, disturbed soil, or regular clearings. Wheel ruts, fresh footprints, and piled materials are all visual cues. If you need to approach or service the shelter, do it from directions that keep footprints under cover. And, well, disguise access routes with leaf litter or displaced vegetation so they don't read as a path from above. Choose materials that adapt and age naturally. Camouflage meant using what was on hand. Local materials age into the environment. Synthetic additions tend to stand out. Live branches that wilt and change over days, stones that collect dust, and soil that dries to match the field are all allies. Don't rely on bright, bold tarps or new plastic that will reflect light and look, unnatural. If you must use man-made fabric, roughen it and weather it so its finish and tone stop announcing itself. Test, then test some more. World War II teams never assumed a job was done until it passed the test from the air. You should do the same. Check your work with a vantage point or a camera drone, and, observe at different altitudes and times. If you don't have a drone, use a tall building, a hill, or maybe a long lens photograph taken from afar. If anything pops, iterate. Move material, shift tones, change angles. Concessions to visibility are often small and reversible. Fix the glaring signals first, then refine. Yes, modern drones add thermal and high-resolution imaging to the mix. The World War II playbook doesn't give you magic invisibility against advanced sensors, but, it gives you leverage. Disrupting shape and shadow, removing straight lines, and blending texture. These reduce the chance a system will flag your shelter as an anomaly. Consider passive thermal tricks, like adding insulating layers that reduce temperature contrast between the shelter and the ground. And above all, avoid obvious bright electronics and heat sources left exposed. This is craft, not magic. Treat camouflage as an ongoing project, not a one-time paint job. Work with the land, test from above, tweak until the shelter reads as background, not target. That's what the camoufleurs in World War II did, and honestly, their techniques still outsmart eyes in the sky. If this resonated and you want more practical, historically rooted survival and concealment guides, hit subscribe to the Forgotten War Fronts. Share this with someone who values being unseen. Comment with your terrain type, and I'll cover specifics for forests, scrub, desert, and urban edges in the next episode. Share, subscribe, and let's keep learning how to disappear. Smart, steady, and sensible.